Do you ever find yourself struggling while thinking about what content to make? Do you struggle to know which platform you should be posting on? Are you overwhelmed by all the topic ideas that are floating around in your head? Or is the opposite an issue for you where you have no clue what to talk about? If any of these sound like you, then you definitely know the importance of having a strong online presence. You also know that creating content is a key part of that presence. But not all content is created equal. There is, in fact, one specific type of content that takes the cake. No trend will ever outmatch it, and nothing can replace it. It's called evergreen content. This is the type of content that helps businesses big or small grow steadily over time. This content will continue to garner attention long after it's been created. That's one of the things that makes it so valuable. Let's look a little bit closer at what evergreen content is. Essentially, evergreen content is always relevant and doesn't become outdated. It's the type of content that is timeless due to its usefulness for years to come. Here's a few ways that you can structure your content to become more evergreen. Number one, how-tos or how-Is. You can speak on how to do a certain task or learn a certain skill. Or you can even reframe your how-tos into a how-I. And what I mean by that is instead of saying how to do something, you say how I will do something. And you just fill in the blank there. So how-tos and how-Is are great ways to structure content to be more evergreen. Or you could put out guides on fundamentals or principles of a certain topic. The thing is, to build any sort of skill, you're going to have to master the fundamentals or understand the principles of a certain topic to become great. And the thing with principles and fundamentals is they never really change, making this a good route for evergreen content. Or the third thing could be case studies or breakdowns, where you're digging into something that's already happened. Maybe it's looking back at clients that you've previously helped and breaking down the problem that they had before they started working with you, and then how you accomplish certain things for your client, and now the success that they have. That's timeless. That story is not going to fall out of style or out of trend over time. And the last example that I'll provide here is just sharing your own research. To better explain what this could look like, let's pretend that you're an interior designer and you want to make some content around designing a comfortable living room space. You may create a blog post on how to position furniture to maximize the space. You may show off your skills by recording a short video showing someone's current living room situation and how you would rearrange the space if they hired you as their designer. You might create a guide on what factors a homeowner should consider when buying furniture for their brand new living space. You may create a slide deck that shows off different living room transformations that you've designed in the past. Or lastly, maybe you'll compile all your notes and research on this topic into a PDF that aspiring designers could download, whether you give it away for free or charge something for it. To give you an example on the opposite end of the spectrum, what wouldn't be considered evergreen is content like a TikTok on 2023's top living room couches, because that's going to be cool for a moment, it's going to be searchable for a moment, and then it's basically going to fall off the map forever. So you created that piece of content and the shelf life of it is really short. When you're thinking evergreen, think timeless. But memes and trends, they help my content get picked up by the algorithm so I can get more views. And yeah, that may be true, but let me take us back to a question that I always ask myself and people that I work with, and that is, what is your goal? In this case, why are you wanting to create content in the first place? But before you answer that, let's look at why evergreen content will make you more green. And we can learn this by asking the question, why is evergreen content so important? Evergreen content is important because it's content that will continue to bring in traffic and leads long after it's being created and will continue to be relevant and useful to your audience. It's content that will help you build trust with your audience and establish yourself as an authority in your field. And not only does it help with the trust and the authority, but it continues to do so for years to come. You create it one time and it becomes this gift that keeps on giving content for people and then attention towards you and your brand and potentially the products or services that you offer. So when we're talking trends or topics that have a shorter lifespan like NFTs or Bitcoin, there's a good likelihood that even if the content is great, it's probably not going to be very useful in a year or two because times change. We evolve. Like, can you imagine if the news just kept replaying the same headlines back from 2010? It wouldn't be super useful or engaging, right? So here's the trick. The trick is to find a balanced approach between what I call short cycle content and evergreen content. For instance, right now, I really want to create content on AI and ChatGPT because it's blowing up the internet right now. And even if I were to get 0.001% of the attention that's funneling funneling into this topic at the moment, it'd be the jackpot. I'd have new eyeballs for my content, and I could grow my audience significantly, seemingly overnight. And what I could do is position the content using one of the examples I mentioned earlier to increase its lifespan and its usefulness. But at some point, the hype around ChatGPT will simmer down. I don't think the technology is going anywhere. We're right into the beginning of all of that, and I'll probably will create some content around it. But as far as the hype, the newness, the virality of it will start to fade. The simple way to remember this is that short cycle content can spark virality, whereas evergreen content feeds longevity. And that doesn't mean that short cycle content can't stick around for a little bit longer than typical, and it doesn't mean that if you try to create evergreen content that it won't spark something that goes viral. But overall, you can think about them in those two camps. Go take a look at my channel and pay close attention to the topics that I speak on. Am I picking topics that are timeless? Am I structuring them in a way that has a 5 to 10 year plus lifespan of usefulness? Let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. To build wealth, to create a sustainable brand, to build a business that can continue to support you and your dreams, you must think evergreen and create evergreen. And if you want a quick game changer technique that will help you grow your audience and your wallet, watch this video where I share the most important piece of business advice that I've ever received. Until next time, peace.